SRN News. Female athletes petition the NCAA.
A group of 300 wants the college sports governing body to reject demands by liberal groups that it boycott Idaho. That state is in the crosshairs because of a law that would force transgender athletes to compete as the gender they truly are. No men or boys competing against women or girls. 60 liberal organizations, including the National Center for Transgender Equality, the ACLU, and Planned Parenthood, want an NCAA boycott. Michael Harrington, SRN News.
The International Committee on Nigeria has released a new report detailing attacks on Christians by Muslim terrorists in the country over the past 20 years. ICON spokesman Kyle Abbott says firsthand accounts of the ongoing religious persecution and genocide are shocking and cannot be tolerated. Nigeria has been transformed into an epicenter of terrorist activities and a ticking time bomb. The government has been unable to stop the attacks. This is SRN News.
2 minutes to go.
Big league doubleheaders will now become a pair of 7-inning games.
It's the latest radical rule change during a season reshaped by the coronavirus pandemic. Major League Baseball and the Players Union reportedly reached agreement on the new twin bills. MLB had already added designated hitters to National League games this year and added an automatic runner at second base and extra innings. There are no doubleheaders currently scheduled in the majors, although the Cubs and the Reds will try to figure out a way to make up Thursday night's rainout in Cincinnati. Rhonda Rockster reporting.
Dutch airline KLM says it will cut up to 5,000 jobs. Company says some 1,500 temporary contracts will not be renewed. 2,500 jobs will be eliminated through a voluntary departure scheme. Air travel has been hard hit by the coronavirus pandemic, resulting in around the world. Dow futures up 45 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Hi, this is Brian.
Now, your Breakfast Club weather forecast.
Hello, everyone. I am Kevin James with a quick check of your WVVC weather forecast. For today, Friday, our last day of July, look for partly cloudy skies as our highs will be in the low 80s. For tonight, skies will be clear with lows in the upper 50s. For tomorrow, Saturday, our first day of August, skies will be mainly sunny with a few afternoon clouds. Our highs will be in the mid-80s. For Saturday night, we can expect a few clouds as our lows will be in the low 60s. For the long-range outlook, we will see chances for showers and thunderstorms over the next 7 days as our highs will be in the 70s and 80s. With your weather forecast, I'm Kevin James on WVVC Utica, New York.
And good Friday morning, TGIF.
TIGIF.
Hallelujah.
Thank God it's TIGIF.
Thank God it's TIGIF.
Al, is that a double redundancy if you say thank God it's TIGIF?
It's TIGIF, yes.
That's a double redundancy, eh?
It might be. It's
kind of like saying the same thing twice.
It's cold.
And again.
It's cold by comparison today.
Yeah, it was a wee bit chilly. I had to have a little covering on my poor little shoulders to keep me away from the cold and damp.
Yeah. I woke up because I went to sleep with all the windows open and everything because I need to cool down and all. And I woke up. I'm like,
we got woken up twice last night.
Yeah.
Once from the friendly people across the street that decided to have a up and down the sidewalk
shouting match.
Yes,
good times.
And then sometime at about 4:30 in the morning, something like that, somebody lit off some firecrackers about half a block away.
That's also very helpful to sleep. Absolutely. Yeah, so it is 7 o'clock. Your weather forecast was brought to you by Forever Leather down there at the New Hartford Shopping Center.
With Charlie Seeley and his sea of jackets.
Yes.
Charlie has more leather than a herd of cows.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. So if you need something of the leather persuasion, you'll find it at Forever Leather.
Jackets, hats, boots.
You got it.
He's got them.
315-734-0922, the number for Forever Leather. And, so let's get things started, shall we? Perhaps?
Yes, indeed.
Maybe?
Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for a new opportunity to praise you. We pray, Lord, for health and wisdom. And, Father, we pray as we enter this day that we hear your word, walk in your steps, that we be filled with your Holy Spirit, and manifest your greatness, your goodness, and your love here on this earth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
First on your FM dial, WVVC Dolgeville, Utica, Rome. Inspo Radio, 88.1 FM.
God of creation, start before the beginning of time. With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of life. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. And if the stars were made to worship so loud, God of your promise, you don't speak in vain, no syllable empty or void. For once you have spoken, all nature and science follow the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you said. If creation still obeys you so alive, if the stars are made to worship so alive, if the mountains bow in reverence so alive, and if the oceans roar your greatness so will I. For if everything exists to lift you high, so will I. And if the wind goes where you send it, so will I. If the rocks cry out in silence, so will I. If the sun of all our praise still falls short, then we'll sing again 100 billion times. God of salvation, chase down my heart through all of my failure and pride. On a hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness to die. And as you speak, 100 billion faces disappear, where you lost your life so I could find it here. And if you left the grave behind you so I can see your heart and everything you've done, every part designed in work of art. If you gladly chose surrender so like you would again 100 billion times, but what measure could amount to your desire? You're the one who never leaves the one behind.
It's called So Will I. That's Hillsong United on WVVC 88.1 FM. Yeah, it is 7:06 right now on the Breakfast Club.
We're on our way to a beautiful Friday. It's going to be in the low 80s. We got lots of sunshine coming on, and we're also going to have about the same weather tomorrow. Possible rain on Sunday.
Yeah, I heard that. Your news update brought to you by Dr. Uniforms, which is at 1311 Oriskany Street West in Utica if you're looking for a chef's toque.
Yep, professional attire for professional people, and the shoes to keep you on your feet all day long, and all those accessories that you need to. Not only are you going to look sharp in the uniform, you're going to look cool with all those fancy gadgets hanging on you.
Yeah. 315-266-0093 is the number.
Now, your local headlines from the Breakfast Club.
Off the top today, standing on the site of the future downtown hospital, Mohawk Valley Health System officials discussed the merger of its medical staff. All right, they're talking about all of the great things that'll come by merging all these hospitals into one huge, obnoxious hospital.
Oh, I thought that was already part of the master plan
when
they were building the new hospital.
I do believe it is, but see, they want to make people feel better about it, see.
How can we feel better when they're laying off half their staff?
I know. Joining the two hospitals under the MVHS umbrella has been a multi-step, multi-year process. The combined medical staff will include 650, roughly, members. They said the merger will not only help improve patient care in the community, but it brings them another step closer to being ready to move into the new regional medical center in 2023. So it sounds like they're merging the two staffs into one hospital. But here, let's see. It says that they'll become one, but I'm looking to see where they're going to become one. Is it going to be on the St. E's campus or St. Luke's campus until, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But, hey, combining medical staffs will mean all physicians will have privileges everywhere.
Oh.
So there you go. All right. Moving along, U.S. Census Bureau workers will begin going door to door to get people who haven't already filled out their census to do so. Remember,
you shall do your census.
It is required by law. We've gotten the census here at the station. They seem to not realize that no people live here.
Yeah, we get it at the shop, where no people live there.
Yes.
We also get a census there.
Yes. So there you go. We'll probably get a knock on the door at some point here. But as of July 19th, New York had a self-response rate of 57.7 compared to the 62% nationally. So that's beware.
Special.
You might have a knock at your door. Gyms, fitness, and wellness centers have been closed since March, thanks to all COVID.
All the time.
They were expecting to open during Phase 4, but Emperor...
But no.
No, Emperor Andy said no singing in church and no
gyms.
No gym for you. Assemblywoman Marianne Buttershawn, I think that's how you say her name.
Buttonshawn. Yep.
Buttonshawn has been in contact with a number of gyms and knows going months without income is taking a toll. So she is pushing to get the governor to reopen.
I mean, if you social distance in the gym...
Yeah.
And you can social distance in the movie theater, and you can social distance in the food court in the mall.
And in the gym, you can wipe stuff down. You can have Lysol wipes. There's plenty of ways.
And, it's also 99% survivable.
Yeah, so Senator Joe Griffo and Buttonshawn have written a letter to the governor, but encourage everyone to express concerns through a website called Ask New York. So we'll have to check that one out. Griffo
Andy, what are you doing?
Griffo was talking about why it makes sense for these facilities to open. And the New York State Department of Transportation, in partnership with the City of Utica and Utica Police Department, conducted Operation Hard Hat, which is what the state police were already doing a couple weeks ago. Because it is a statewide campaign that usually puts state troopers on the highway, but Utica, decided to make this a hyper-local thing, and it's still going on, so be careful if you're out there speeding. Just over just a few hours, they gave out 16 tickets. Okay.
Ooh.
Of the 16, 11 were cell phone violations, so be careful having that phone attached to your head while you're driving.
Oh my gosh! I mean, the punishment for driving with your cell phone is bad enough, and if you do it in a construction area where it's doubled?
Oh, yeah. Not wise at all.
Use your wisdom. Put your phone down.
That's provided you have wisdom.
That's what you get a load of when you come here.
That's right.
Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Dose out the wisdom here.
Your WVVC gas tracker, brought to you by Big Dog Motors down there in Frankfort.
Big Dog.
Yes.
He has got he's got it all. He's got the tow truck, he's got the body shop, he's got the mechanical shop. So if you're in a fender bender, talk to Todd about maybe helping him out with your deductible.
Yeah.
And get everything taken care of there, including New York State inspections.
Yeah, they're located at 4262 Acme Road in Frankfort. Phone number 315-444-9028. Nobody beats the Gook. Cheapest fuel today is $2.11, and it's at Mohawk Fuel. Okay, they're on 291 near 69. Burn Dairy on Oriskany Boulevard, 219. The Dairy Dell on the corner of 5 and Newport Road, 219. The Speedway on Oriskany Boulevard is also 219.
BJ's
today.
fall off the map.
BJ's fell off the map today. I don't know if it's because they're not reporting or what the deal is, but they have fallen
off the map.
Fallen off the map. Lowest price today is $2.11. Highest price you're going to find out there is $2.41 today for a 30-cent spread. Yeah, so there you go. What's going on outside the area, Walt?
Oh, there is all sorts of things going on. Pick a spot. So, Sean Hannity brought this up. Did the NFL just declare war on church? Because if you're going to be in the NFL, you can go to a protest, but if you go to certain churches, then you can't play football in the NFL.
No football.
So it's like, what's the story here? You can go to the protest. You know, if you're in the Seattle Seahawks, you can get out of the protest and you can go play the game where you have been in a crowd and maybe wearing a mask, maybe not wearing a mask. Who knows?
Makes no sense.
Oh, this doesn't make any sense either. Portland is fining the feds $500 for every 15 minutes. That's $2,000 a minute.
Wow.
Or $2,000 an hour.
I was going to say,
okay.
$2,000 a minute. Wow.
$2,000 an hour for a fence around part of the courthouse that is being attacked by rioters because it's blocking a bicycle path.
Aha. Well.
So now the feds had to send in agents to protect the building, to keep the building from being burned down. Okay? Which I'm sure is still under attack. All right? Do the feds get to charge the city because the city could not police their own streets? You might want to be careful about what's going to bite you on that.
Yeah, it kind of sounds it. Yeah.
Yeah, there are all sorts of things. Obama was at the John Lewis funeral yesterday, and he almost had time in his speech to put a little bit of honor in there for John Lewis because he spent most of his time trashing the Republicans and trashing Trump, and he just tried to trash everything else. Yeah. So remember when he was a high class and he had, a nice crease in his pants and sent to thrill up CNN legs anchors? CNN anchors' legs.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Gotcha.
He was totally not without too much class yesterday because it was really just a bash after bash after bash. So it was kind of sad to see.
I saw the highlights.
Yeah. Fauci says he doesn't think we need to go into lockdown again.
He doesn't think?
He doesn't think that we need to go into lockdown again. And I don't know if you're aware, but there actually is a virus on the horizon. And it's a virus that needs the plasma from people who have, not a virus, I mean a
vaccine.
A vaccine.
Yes.
Yes. And it's a vaccine in which you need to use plasma from somebody that has had corona.
Yes.
Okay. So that is on the way. But now the big stink is, now that this vaccine is getting ready to come out and it's on the horizon, how are they going to distribute it?
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of stink going on about, the Republicans are going to keep it for themselves.
What?
Yeah, that's kind of like the argument that is being brought out. Now that there is a vaccine on the horizon, are they going to distribute it properly? It's like, okay, so now that there's some hope and some good things going on, we are going to have a special guest, I believe. So what else do we have that's going on out here? There was a basketball game. And every player and coach in the NBA knelt before the start of the basketball game. The NBA promised social justice message when they restarted their season, and they delivered. On Thursday night, every player and coach for the Jazz and Pelicans took a knee during the national anthem. So that's how the NBA kicked off the game.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing I don't watch the NBA. Now, last night, for those who aren't aware, we posted it on our social media. There was a Back the Blue rally that happened in Saratoga Springs that was basically overrun by Black Lives Matter moments after it started.
Overrun by Black Lives Matter?
Yes, and it got pretty contentious for a little bit. And we've got Brian Larson on the phone, who's actually in Saratoga Springs. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. It's great to be on with A&W. I wish I had some of your root beer, but it's a peaceful, quiet morning here in Saratoga. You know, it's funny, in Saratoga Springs on today, tomorrow is the first day of August. It's also the running of the Whitney Stakes, and there are normally about 50,000 people coming in for that horse race today and tomorrow. The race is tomorrow, but they'll be coming in today. And it's sad to me that people who just came out to support our police department, and my brother was a state trooper for 20 years. He was a special investigator. Mm-hmm. And these guys have a tough job.
Yeah.
And here the people are just coming out to say, we support you guys, and they're attacked by anarchists and the radical wing of the Black Lives Movement. It boggles your mind. I mean, I've got an editorial on over here that I say I wish that the governor would either take control of things. We've had 43 shootings in Albany, the Albany area, in 3 weeks.
Wow.
You know, the sad statistic is, if you look at the FBI database, the 89.7% of all black murders are committed by blacks on blacks.
Yeah.
53% of all white murders are committed by blacks on white. You know, of that group, 50% of all the murders are committed by blacks under 25 years of old, 25 years of age, and of the rapes and violent murders, 50% are all committed by blacks under 25 years old. The problem is not the police department. The problem is a sociological problem within the black community. And I have tons and tons of black pastors and black parishioners. They're friends of mine. We all go to church together. We love each other in Christ. But there's a problem in the community, and it needs to be addressed. Yeah. I mean, if you're a police officer and you see 4 young black men under 25 years old in a car going right, and you see a little old lady with gray hair going left, which vehicle are you going to follow? It's not racial profiling. It's statistical enforcement. You have to think, where are the crimes being committed? And, you know, you've got to deal with that.
So, Brian, how many people were at the rally last night in Saratoga Springs?
I was not at the rally last night, so I can't give you an actual figure. But to be totally honest with you, 43 people have been shot, several of them killed in the Capital District in the last 3 weeks. And in many cases, there weren't very many people.
Yeah.
It was just, a young, a car drives by and shoots people.
Yeah.
Or people shoot back at a car, shoot at a car going by.
So the peaceful protest in Saratoga Springs turned ugly when the Black Lives Matter people showed up.
Yeah, and if you would watch the video that we shared, there were probably, because it started in the park, and it was literally it started with somebody at a podium talking, praising the police, yada yada yada, and it very quickly turned into a very large group of, and you know what? This is a Black Lives Matter group. I'm going to tell you that most of it was like maybe white women in their early 20s screaming at the police, a good portion of it.
Wow.
Well, they're naive. I mean, I talked to a young white woman yesterday about those statistics. 89.7% of all black murders are conducted by blacks on blacks. And she was enraged at them. She got very angry about it. And I said, these are the facts. Mm-hmm. I said I had a student about 2 weeks ago, 50 years old, taking a driving test. And I said, did you get out of prison? He said, yeah, for murder. He said, I just spent 17 years in Coxsackie for murder. And he said, I'm on probation for 9 years. And he said, I was young and I was stupid. And he said, but I paid the price for it. And he said, I'm starting my life over. Well, those are the stories that we're not hearing. We're not hearing. Everybody wants to go out and say, oh, you have the right to do. But people's lives are being ruined. They're being absolutely ruined because of this insanity that's going on in our society.
Yeah.
Where people are hating each other and shooting them because they're angry, and then they go to jail and they spend their life in jail. And they say, "Oh, well, we have more of this group or that group or another group in jail than other groups." Well, because that's the group that's committing the crimes.
Yes.
And here in Saratoga Springs, I'm shocked. I'm sitting here watching people go on about their business, and I'm thinking, never in a million years would I ever believe it would happen here. And I'm so glad that we did the Back the Blue last week in the Mohawk Valley.
Yeah.
Because as a ministry and as an organization, we want to stand with our police officers. They're not perfect people. They're human beings, and they get pushed and they get shoved and they get angry.
They have
and
a
get
tough
frustrated.
job.
They have a horrible job. It's an absolutely terrible job.
And we had a Back the Blue rally here in Utica last Friday, and we found out at the rally that the mayor of Utica did not allow the Utica Police Department to show up at a rally specifically for Backing the Blue.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Our Democratic mayor did not allow the police to show up at a rally for the police.
Yeah.
Everybody wants us to be so politically correct. It's insane. And yet, Herman Cain just died yesterday. An amazing African-American businessman who did great things, created jobs, helped to make his communities better, and we just jump over him. And if Black lives matter, then his life matters.
That's right.
All lives matter.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to let you guys get back to your show, but I'll tell you, here in Saratoga, we're in shock. I mean, people would be around the water fountain talking about the horses running tomorrow, but instead they're all talking about this craziness.
Wow, yeah, and Saratoga is such a beautiful place. It's a beautiful, a really beautiful little town there.
It's a destination city. I mean, as Carly Simon said, you flew your Learjet to Saratoga, and your horse naturally won.
Yeah.
So the whole world looks at Saratoga Springs this time of the year, and it's just sad that this radical element would come into our community. So, all right, guys, thanks for having me on, and praise the Lord. God's on the throne.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks for calling in, Brian.
All right. So, last night, I was actually I had finished dinner, and I was sitting down, and all of a sudden, how Facebook, the little window pops up in the corner, and I'm seeing, the madness going on there. So I click on it, and it's there's a guy out there in Fulton County. Okay, he's a one-man band. He runs a Facebook page called Fulton County Area News. And get this, he has 67,000 people following his page.
67,000.
67,000. And he's a one-man band who goes around
I'll bet the newspaper wish they had that.
I know. He goes around with his cell phone when things are going on. He pops up the cell phone, and he covers it, but it's like one man, and this is what we're looking at, and this is how it's happening, and yada, yada, yada. And I saw it, and I shot him a message. I say, hey, because he didn't really have details as to what we were looking at. I said, hey, where's this happening, yada, 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 and can we use the video? And, of course, he must have saw it while he was shooting. He goes, hey, I just got a message from a Utica TV station, and they want to know, yada, yada, yada. And
you have this posted on our website.
I do.
A WVVC exclusive.
Exclusive. And we have permission to use it, and I'm probably going to be sending it off to Newsnet, so that'll probably be a national
great.
A national story, too. But right in Saratoga, I mean, it's...
actually, one of the things that is basically my whole theme almost across all the news is people spouting hatred.
Yes.
I mean, from Obama at the eulogy yesterday, and all it was Orange Man bad, bad, that bad, that bad.
Yes.
And then we have CNN's Cuomo on there, who said, I wish Cain rests in peace and that this president have no peace. Quote, unquote, from Chris Cuomo.
They're blaming Trump.
So where are we doing any type of uplifting? Okay, what we should be doing is we should be taking care of each other.
Yes.
The way Christ wanted us to.
That's right.
And again, like we were talking yesterday, when Christ wasn't against Rome, he didn't have a problem with the government. He had a problem with the actual people that were spouting things doing it the wrong way, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who were actually kind of like the government of the Jews.
Yes.
Okay, and they fought amongst themselves just the way the Republicans and Democrats are doing now.
Yep.
And all they did was try to challenge the love that Christ had for his fellow man.
Yeah.
And they tried to constantly corner him and ensnare him. And Christ, just by using his voice and his authority from God, only one time when he overthrew the tables in the temple,
Yes.
did he get physically upset.
Yes.
And that was the only time.
And it's funny because yesterday we had D. Victor Pellegrino in the studio, and that kind of goes along with what he was saying. We're spending too much of our time being Republicans and Democrats, and not enough being Christians.
Right.
That was pretty much his message. Are we chasing away people because we are putting this message out about Democrat bad, Republican good.
Right.
And it does make you think. Well, we a lot of times we'll post things that are going on, and it will kind of look like a Republican good, Democrat bad. But in reality, I'm not a Republican. I don't know about you, but I'm not. The only reason I ever would register as Republican is so I could vote in the primary, because honestly, the Democratic Party over the last several years has been pro-abortion. It's been they've been forcing birth control on.
Democratic Party seems to have lost its will for freedom in the United States.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I usually don't vote for a Democrat, because there hasn't been a Democrat that has, And
it's rare for me to vote for a Democrat, and I do. There is a Democrat out there that I do vote for, but on the national front, and even on the local front, it's for instance, why does the mayor not allow a single officer at a Back the Blue rally?
Yeah, well, because he doesn't want to upset the Black Lives Matter crowd.
What about the Blue Lives Matter that are actually trying to do some uplifting here?
Yeah.
And don't you think that he could even send one officer to the Back the Blue rally, and that one officer can say, "Hey, everybody, thank you for coming. Appreciate your support."
Yes.
And that would be good. Okay, he doesn't have to have a crowd or a staff or even a car.
He wants to make sure that the police are not endorsing, because there were Republicans there. Tenney was there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of the other guy that was there. I have a terrible memory. But there were a couple Republican candidates there, and he wanted to make sure that it wasn't appearing like they were endorsing them. That's really what was going on there.
Yep, he's playing politics.
That's right.
He's not doing any uplifting.
That's right.
He is not supporting his own departments. He should be out there. He should allow, at least some recognition of the support that this community wants to give its police officers.
Yes.
And when we did have our Black Lives Matter rally, it was nice to know that we managed it classy.
Yes.
Utica kept it classy.
And Utica usually does.
Yep.
I mean, there might be an element out there that could be a little rough around the edges. We saw, like, with the fight at a funeral home. Where does that happen? Well, that happened in Utica. But for the most part, Utica is very good at keeping it classy.
Yes, indeed.
They really are. So I just wish we could see that across the country, because this could be a very moving thing. If this was all very, respectful, this could be a very moving thing, but it's not a moving thing. It's an angering thing. It's an enraging thing, because they're destroying landmarks. They're destroying buildings, businesses.
They're destroying cities. Look at what's going on in Seattle and Portland.
And I'm sure you probably have in your pile there the fact that Trump has now said that if Portland doesn't clean up its act, he will be sending
more.
Yes,
and then if I need to, I'll send the National Guard.
That's right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
and why don't the powers that be in Portland and Washington take care of their own?
Yeah.
It's because you're not doing the job. I mean, you can't let a city burn down because somebody wants something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I think what's going on is they're Democrat-run cities. These are Democrat-backed demonstrations by Black Lives Matter. They want to make sure they've got that vote, so they're not going to go in and touch anything.
Just want to embarrass the president. That's all it's about.
That's all it's about.
Okay, and if we need to burn down your business and burn down your house, we will do that.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is the bottom of the hour. It's time for the weather, which is brought to you by Media Partners Group. Media Partners Group is at 768-0277, located at 188 Main Street in New York Mills. If you've got old videotapes, old films, slides that you would like to have digitized, you can get that done at Media Partners Group. And there's advantages to digitizing either to DVD, because it's very easy. A lot of times people just want it on DVD because I just want to put it in the machine and I want to watch it on TV.
Yeah.
And other people want it put on a computer so that maybe you want to edit it, maybe you want to share it a lot more, and you have that file that's easy to share. The bad thing about having your video put on a thumb drive or a hard drive, it takes up a lot of space.
Yes.
So you want to have a computer that can handle it, and you want to have a computer that has a hard drive that can handle that space.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is if you do want to edit it, not everybody likes learning video editing programs.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like if I were to give my mother a video, I wouldn't give it to her as a file. I would have it on a DVD so it can be put in the player and she can push play.
Push the button.
That's it.
Yes, indeedy. That's the advantage to a DVD.
That's right. Absolutely.
So the experts there at Media Partners Group can help you with that, and their number is 768-0277, and they're at 188 Main Street in New York Mills.
Now, your Breakfast Club weather forecast.
Hello, everyone. I am Kevin James with a quick check of your WVVC weather forecast. For today, Friday, our last day of July, look for partly cloudy skies as our highs will be in the low 80s. For tonight, skies will be clear with lows in the upper 50s. For tomorrow, Saturday, our first day of August, skies will be mainly sunny with a few afternoon clouds. Our highs will be in the mid 80s. For Saturday night, we can expect a few clouds as our lows will be in the low 60s. For the long-range outlook, we will see chances for showers and thunderstorms over the next 7 days as our highs will be in the 70s and 80s. With your weather forecast, I'm Kevin James on WVVC Utica, New York.
Waking you up.
Wake up, you sleepyhead. Get up, get out of bed. See how the sun is shining.
You've got to be kidding me.
It's the Breakfast Club, WVVC FM.
Life is filled with sorrow, and there are days when the pain just lasts and lasts. But I know there will come a day when all our tears are washed away, with a break in the clouds, His glory coming down, and in that moment every knee shall bow.
It's Mark Schultz right there on WVVC 88.1 FM, 738 on the Breakfast Club. Last day of July. We are officially getting ready to move into August.
Is tomorrow.
Is tomorrow.
That's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it goes really fast, doesn't it?
Yeah. At least we're going to have nice weather leaving July and nice weather entering into August. We'll be in the low 80s. We're going to have sunshine.
Yeah, I'm hearing that this is going to be a top 10 July for heat.
Oh?
Yeah, it's going to be one of the hottest Julys on record.
I think we either came close to or did set a record for number of days in the 80s.
Yes, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah. It was pretty warm.
You could say that, yes.
It was pretty warm.
Yeah.
So, Al, with all the stuff going on out there, I actually have a bit of good news.
What?
Yeah. A guy won a $22 million jackpot.
Okay.
And 30 years ago, he shook hands with his buddy, and they were both going to buy tickets, lottery tickets. And the agreement was, if either one of them wins the big jackpot, they will split it.
Yeah.
30 years later, ding, 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 ding. He hits a $22 million jackpot. And he calls his buddy up and he says, guess what? And his buddy, of course, thought he was kidding. And he's like, no, dude, you're a millionaire.
That is pretty cool.
Isn't that cool? And this is in Wisconsin. They hit the $22 million jackpot. And after taxes, it comes down to $16.7 million.
I was going to guess 11.
Yeah.
That's the number I had in my head. I bet you money is going to be after taxes about $11 million.
So they both get to take home somewhere around $5.7 million after Uncle Sam puts his pinky in the payroll there.
I'll tell you what, I would have a lot of fun with $5 million.
I know. It's like, so Al, if you won, if we had an agreement like that, and is $11 million enough for you, or would you say, yeah, Walt, I'll split it with you because, you and I are buddies. And
yeah.
I'll give you 5.7 and I'll keep 5.7.
I would like to believe that if you and I had the agreement that we would split it, that I would split it.
Yeah.
I'm sure my wife would be in there going,
that's $5 million you're giving away. What's that? Actually, I would be happy with the 0.7.
That's true.
$700,000 right now would be kind of nice.
That would be. That would be. Yeah, I ain't seen that much money ever. That would be real nice. Absolutely nice. So, hey, a little bit of a positive thing there.
Yes,
considering
indeed.
we it was a barrage in the first half hour of not positive news.
Oh boy, yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see things like that come through.
Yes, it seriously is.
Obviously, I think those two gentlemen had a little bit of wisdom.
Yes.
So today being July 31st, let's take a look in Proverbs 31, and we'll go to 31:4. It is not for kings, Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for rulers to crave beer, lest they drink and forget what has been decreed, and deprive all the oppressed of their rights. Let beer be for those who are perishing, and wine for those who are in anguish. Let them drink and forget their poverty, and remember their misery no more. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy.
Nail-pierced hands, the hands of a carpenter, more powerful than a stone. Wounded on the cross, you're beckoning me. nail-pierced hands, the hands of my shepherd were tender than a rose, wounded on the cross. You're teaching me to trust in you. You're molding in me a new heart. How beautiful and kind the hands of Jesus. How beautiful and kind are your hands, your hands. Your hands, Jesus. Blessed are all who've never seen them yet. Believe, believe. Blessed are all who've never seen them yet. Believe, believe, believe. How beautiful and kind the hands of Jesus. How beautiful and kind are your hands. How beautiful and kind the hands of Jesus. How beautiful and kind are your hands, your hands.
The Breakfast Club on Inspo Radio WVVC FM.
Yours will be the only name that matters to me, the only one whose favor I seek, the only name that matters to me. Yours will be the friendship and affection I need to feel my Father smiling on me. The only name that matters to me. And yours is the
Big Daddy Weave. The only name.
You can tell just by the la-las that it's Big Daddy Weave.
Yeah. $7.50 right now on the Breakfast Club. And it's Friday, so,
Tigif. Thank
right.
God it's Friday.
Amen. Amen to that. I could use a Friday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it looks like we're going to have a pretty good weekend. Looks like we may have some rain moving in on Sunday, but we're going to be up in the 80s, and we have to say goodbye to July.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
July went by, actually, as miserable as 2020 is being.
You know what's funny?
With all that is canceled and all that is COVID.
Yeah. I have a friend who hates New Year's. He hates New Year's Eve with a passion because he's got this thing about things ending and knowing that they'll never come back again. He hates New Year's Eve because it is the last day of that year that is now gone. And back when he told me that, I thought he was crazy. But now as I get older, I kind of see it. It's like you see, time goes, and time is the most precious currency because you can't make more of it.
Right.
Yep. So
you can't earn any more. You can't get any more. The only thing you can do is get everlasting life.
That's right. That's right.
If you follow Jesus.
Amen to that.
That's the only way to hold on to a long time.
Amen to that. So coming up in the next hour, we've got Miss Kimmy.
What time would that be?
That would be right around 8.
But then it's going to end.
8:30. That's right. But then it's going to end. That's right. And then after that, we're going to be dipping into the swag bag. So you still got a little bit of time to sign up if you haven't already. At the bottom of the
next hour, we'll have Miss Kimmy, and then Al takes the swan dive into the swag bag.
That's right. So,
which gives you a little bit of time, since we're on the theme of time.
Yes.
But this time will end.
Yes.
Okay? It will come to a close because you have to sign up for the Breakfast Club before
that's right.
that time.
You just go to WVVC Utica, click on the Breakfast Club, and sign up. And one other thing, if you and maybe a friend made an agreement to split a large lottery payout,
could you put us in there too?
Yeah. What would you consider
sharing some of that money?
Yeah, supporting WVVC because we could really use your help.
If you click on that donate button, you could take that 0.7. That's $700,000.
Yeah.
And you can kick it over to WVVC.
And the good news is because we're a 501c3, that is tax deductible.
It's going to be tax deductible. It'll come right off the top of your taxes. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. But seriously, when you've got food courts closed, you've got gyms that are closed, the state fair is canceled, the county fairs are canceled.
No basketball games.
No, NASCAR in New York is canceled. Yeah, absolutely crazy.
NASCAR in New York.
Yes, Watkins Glen.
They're not going to run at Watkins Glen.
They're not going to run at Watkins Glen
this fall.
That's right. Usually August. I usually take my older children and we go out there and we enjoy a day at the races, and we won't be doing that this year. It's really kind of a sad thing. But WVVC not canceled, but we are still affected by the COVID thing like everybody else. We really could use some help.
So, yes, if you can go to WVVCutica.com and click on that donate button and help us out, we would really appreciate it.
Absolutely. 7:54 right now on the Breakfast Club. Your weather update and news at the top of the hour coming up next.
Some people just want to survive, and I don't know about you, but I am alive. Hey, hey. Lately it seems that I need a hand in a fallen world. I just want to stand. What would Jesus do? Walking in my shoes, working at my job, going to my school. And I hear people say, Jesus is the way. I believe, and that is why I'm asking you, what would Jesus do? And as we all know, would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Hey, hey, have you ever thought about it? What would Jesus do? Give his life for you. If you follow him, he'll give your life to him. What would Jesus do? Give his life for you. If you follow him, you give your life to him. Shine on, follow
It's big tent revival.
Big tent revival.
Big. I don't know. I like saying big that way. They've been, you
like going big?
They broke up in 1999. But what a great band. They were really, really exceptional. That's one of the ones I'd like to see make a comeback.
Cool.
Exceptional band. So
Nice.
something that I want to bring to everybody's attention, we have a traffic alert for you that starts Monday. Okay, on the Monday, August 3rd, Burstone Road from Genesee Street to Sunset Ave will be closed from 7 p.m., 7 at night till 7 in the morning. So they're going to be milling and paving overnight, which is a great time to do that, actually.
Yeah, especially that's a busy way.
Yes. Yes, it is. Right down in there, it's very busy. Also, additional night work is going to be done on Burstone Road after the milling and paving is complete. Now, it's going to be night work, so it's going to go on through the week. On Tuesday, Genesee Street from Watson Place to Noyes Street is going to have one lane of traffic each direction, again from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I like this idea that they're doing it overnight. That's just terrific.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrific. Your weather forecast brought to you by Forever Leather in New Hartford.
Charlie Seeley and his herd of jackets. Is that what you could call it?
The sea of leather.
Yes, and his sea of leather and leather goods. Not only jackets, boots, wallets, hats. Cool hats.
Full disclosure, as I'm sitting here, I have my Forever Leather. I got my boots from Forever Leather. I have in the hallway out there in the entryway my jacket from Forever Leather. I'm currently packing a wallet from Forever Leather. My gear in the other room is in a bag that came from Forever Leather. I can say without a doubt that it's quality stuff and that Charlie does stand behind his stuff.
Yes, he does.
315-734-0922. And right now it is 62 degrees in New Hartford, 64 up here on the hill. On our way to a nice day today.
Yeah, we're going to be in the low to mid 80s, and it should be pretty much clear all day long. Same thing tomorrow, mid 80s, a clear day, and then on Sunday we may have a shower or thunder bumper come moving in, and we'll be in the low to mid 80s.
Let's go ahead and send it over to the expert, Mr. Kevin James.
And now, your Breakfast Club weather forecast.
Hello, everyone. I am Kevin James with a quick check of your WVVC weather forecast. For today, Friday, our last day of July, look for partly cloudy skies as our highs will be in the low 80s. For tonight, skies will be clear with lows in the upper 50s. For tomorrow, Saturday, our first day of August, skies will be mainly sunny with a few afternoon clouds. Our highs will be in the mid 80s. For Saturday night, we can expect a few clouds as our lows will be in the low 60s. For the long range outlook, we will see chances for showers and thunderstorms over the next 7 days as our highs will be in the 70s and 80s. With your weather forecast, I'm Kevin James on WVVC Utica, New York.
First on your FM dial, WVVC Dolgeville, Utica, Rome. Inspo Radio 88.1 FM.
I came to you with my heart in pieces and found a God with healing in his hands. I turned to you, put everything behind me, and found a God who makes all things new. I look to you, drowning in my questions, and found the God who holds all wisdom. And I trusted you and stepped out on the ocean. You caught my hand among the waves, 'cause you're the God of all my days. Each step I take, you make a way, and I will give you all my praise. My seasons change, you stay the same. You're the God of all my days. I ran from you and wandered in the shadows, and found a God who relentlessly pursues. I hid from you, haunted by my failure, and found a God whose grace still covers me. I fell on you when I was at my weakest, and found a God, the lifter of my head. And I've worshipped you and felt you right beside me. You're the reason that I sing, 'cause you're the God of all my days. Each step I take, you make a way, and I will give you all my praise. My seasons change, you stay the same. You're the God of all my days. In my worry, God, you are my stillness. In my searching, God, you are my answers. In my blindness, God, you are my vision. In my bondage, God, you are my freedom. In my weakness, God, you are my power. You're the reason that I sing, 'cause you're the God of all my days. Each step I take, you make a way, and I will give you all my praise. My seasons change, you stay the same. You're the God of all my days. In my blindness, God, you are my vision. And in my bondage, God, you are my freedom. All my days.
Casting Crowns on WVVC 88.1 FM, 8:07 on the Breakfast Club. A beautiful start to your Friday. This last day of July.
Tiggif.
Yeah.
And the end of July. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, time goes by so fast. And we already have Miss Kimmy in the house with us. And she'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour for the Garden Report.
I am in my headphones. Are you hearing music in your headphones?
Yes, I do.
Very interesting. Oh, and I know why. I can fix that. I'm like, what in the world am I hearing?
Al, are you doing a little skew there with the Wheatstone console?
Yeah,
just flying sideways a little bit. Got a little right rudder in there.
I was like, what in the world am I hearing? It's always something, man.
No, Al, did you hear anything, Kim? I didn't hear anything.
I heard nothing.
Okay, Al.
It's all good. It's Friday. It's all good.
That's right. Amen to that. Amen. Yeah, it is 8:08. Your news update brought to you by Dr. Uniforms down there, 1311 Oriskany Street West in Utica. If you know where TP Brake and Muffler is and you know where the patio drive-in is, he's right sandwiched in the middle there.
Yes, indeed.
On the boulevard.
Yep.
And he's got all the professional gear.
Professional garb for professional people.
That's right. He's got the belts and the handcuff holders and the
accessories.
Yeah.
And shoes to keep you on your feet all day long.
And if you're a nurse or a doctor, there's definitely a good selection of your garb down there as well.
Yes, indeed.
315-266-0093. Dr. Uniforms down there on the boulevard.
Now, your local headlines from the Breakfast Club.
So, standing on the site of the future downtown hospital, the Mohawk Valley Health System officials discussed the merger of its two medical staffs. Paxton St. Luke's and St. Elizabeth's Medical Center will become one unified MVHS medical staff starting January 1st, 2021. Joining the two hospital systems under MVHS umbrella has been a multi-step, multi-year process. It's interesting that they chose now to do this, being that they just yesterday announced that they were laying off a whole bunch of people.
Actually, that's what I'm kind of wondering if they're covering for. It's like, okay, you know what? Why don't we just consolidate our people and those people that have been laid off? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service and goodbye.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's kind of like what's going on.
It definitely seems that way. And U.S. Census Bureau workers will begin going door to door to get people who haven't already filled out their 2020 census to do so. The New York Regional Director of the U.S. Census Bureau, who oversees the process for 8 Northeast states, has said that the self-response in New York State falls below the national average. As of July 19th, New York had a self-response rate of 57.7%, compared with 62% nationally. Now, here's the thing that people don't realize about this, or some people may not realize about the census, is this is how we are allotted representatives based on our population.
Right. Yep.
So that's why the census is important. I know some people are like, I don't want to tell the government who I am, how many people.
Okay, also, is the population the number of citizens or the number of people?
Makes you wonder. Depends on who you ask.
Yeah, especially if you're a Democrat in California.
Exactly.
It's like, I got these 9 million people in my trunk.
Yes.
They just come over the border.
Pretty much.
I need another congressman.
And gyms, fitness, and wellness centers have been closed since March. They were expecting to open during Phase 4, but Governor Andrew Cuomo said, no gym for you.
No gym.
Assemblywoman Marianne Buttonshaw has been in contact with a number of the gyms and knows going months without income is taking a toll. She is actually pairing up with Senator Joe Griffo. They have written a letter to the governor, but encourage everyone to express their concerns through a website called Ask New York. Griffo talked about why it makes sense for these facilities to happen, including, at the end of the day, it's a mental health thing.
Wait a minute. We've got a Democrat and a Republican
working together.
That's
crazy.
Wait a minute. What's going on? And this is a common sense kind of a thing?
Imagine.
It's the end of July. It only took 7 months.
And look,
what a good thing.
If for no other reason, guys, Democrats, Republicans work together, for no other reason that we could put out a really sappy song about working together, just like we've done with
together
with coronavirus. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, we're in this together unless the governor's in Georgia and he's not here, so you're stuck with it.
Yeah. Well, the day he shares his paycheck, I say we can all be in this together.
Yeah.
Yeah. New York State Department of Transportation, in partnership with the City of Utica and Utica Police Department, are conducting a local version of Operation Hard Hat. The statewide campaign usually puts state troopers in highway maintenance gear. So, yeah. It's one of them things.
Undercover construction
workers to crack down on distracted driving in work zones. Today, for the first time, that operation happened right here with the UPD. Okay, over just a few hours, 16 tickets were issued. Of the 16, 11 were cell phone violations. Get off your cell phone if you're driving.
And pay attention where you're driving. I talked about earlier in the week when they had to shut down the road because of the flood.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a cop out there, and he was putting cones down, and he bent down to put the cone, and I was in the left lane, and the car that was in the right lane on 840 missed the cop by 9 inches.
Yeah.
Not that much. And the cop looked up, and I think if his car was really handy, he would have been jumping in that car and chasing that person down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like holding my breath
because
I thought I was going to have to step on the brakes and start to render assistance.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was like, and I'm looking at the person in the right lane, and I'm like, are you even aware?
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't really see the driver because I was still behind him, but I was like, I don't even know if they were aware.
And, folks, there is a move-over law.
And you want to know what's really scary? The guy was lighting flares and putting flares down. It's like, how do you not see flares in the road?
Uh-huh. Yes, if you see a police, ambulance, any emergency vehicle on the right side, especially if you're on 840 and it's a 4-lane highway, get in the left lane and slow down. It's the law.
Give them room.
Common sense. And we talked about this last hour. Okay, we had Brian Larson, our company president, on to talk about it a little bit.
From Saratoga Springs.
Yeah, Saratoga Springs last night had a pro-police rally, okay, that drew counter-protesters from Black Lives Matter, okay?
So they had a Back the Blue rally.
That's right.
And
Black Lives Matter showed up to protest the Back the Blue rally, is how this actually happened. According to the Saratoga Springs police, the rally was being held at 6, and shortly after it began, a group of counter-protesters supporting Black Lives Matter and All of Us. I've never even heard of a group called All of Us. They emerged. Police say tensions were high at times as words were hurled between the groups as they inched closer and closer to each other. But they claim no violence occurred. I can say right now that that's not true.
We have video proof.
We have video that people put their fists into other people's faces a few times. So not very good. But the police, including 2 mounted units, you saw the video of the police on the horses and everything, were attempting to keep the 2 groups, It was funny. Okay, one of the guys from the Back the Blue rally, he had a guitar, and he and somebody else were standing there facing the Black Lives Matter folks, singing I Saw the Light from, I'm trying to remember who does it.
The light.
Yeah, and God Bless the USA, and he was wearing a Trump hat, okay? And he took the bullhorn at one point, was telling people, we need to be civil, we need to keep this peaceful. We can all communicate like adults. And some people did and some people didn't. But the Back to Blue rally ended around 7:45, and the police say that the people involved with that rally left. The counter-protesters stayed, and they actually they were in the park, and then they walked outside the park into the street, into the intersection of Broadway and Congress Street, and they sat right in the middle.
Sat in the street.
And there was, cars were turning around, but there was a tractor-trailer that could not turn around, and he was stuck sitting there until these guys got their butts out of the road. And they were all screaming, F the police, and, it was pretty ridiculous.
Pretty childish.
Yes. And there was one person who gave a quick interview to the guy holding the camera, and she, a young black girl, she says when we're saying defund the police, we're not saying we want to get rid of the police. What we're saying is all this money that they're getting, some of that should be going back to the community. Should be going back to the community for programs, for education, for.
There are fundings for community programs.
That's it. And while she's saying that some people don't understand that, I'm saying that she doesn't seem to understand that there's money earmarked for that. It already exists.
Yeah. There's actually a huge amount of waste in those programs.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't they actually just monitor the program and make sure the money gets to where it's supposed to go? As a matter of fact, we've got one of those things where there's a woman who is a state senator from Tennessee. She obfuscated something like $600,000 or $700,000.
Yeah.
So that she
Obfuscated.
could get married,
Yep.
have a nice trip, and then get divorced.
So, folks, do you have
with tax dollars?
Do you have your dictionary? You got it. That's a new word today. Obfuscated.
Obfuscated. Yes. Kind of like when you're playing cards and something disappears.
But according to CBS 6, they did make multiple arrests at that. It doesn't say exactly how many, but it does say multiple arrests were made during that protest.
Man, I wonder. So, I wonder how long they blocked the road.
Not long, because I watched the whole thing. I'm going to say 10, 15 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. You can see the whole thing from start to finish when they sit down, because he never stopped recording. From when they sit down to when they get up and they start marching down the street, which is what happened next. So, yeah, it was a circus down there. And honestly, things like that shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be blocking streets. We really shouldn't.
No.
Sitting in the middle of the road so that the truck drivers can't make their deliveries,
What is it that you want?
That's it. The demand
What's
is...
the point
Yeah.
of sitting in the road?
Defund the police.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we heard you.
Yeah.
We heard you the first time. You
Yep.
don't have to sit in the road and risk life and limb
Yep.
and disrupt, a neighborhood's traffic pattern.
Yeah. They were
Okay.
chanting no justice, no peace for a while there. It's like, okay, describe justice.
So, yeah, I mean, is justice where you allow other people to speak?
Yeah, apparently
and
not.
so you go to somebody else's rally and shut down their rally.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to shut them up.
Yeah.
That's no justice.
That's exactly
and it's
it.
no peace.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, you got neither one.
And
you got them both. Neither.
Yeah. Take a look at your WVVC gas tracker, brought to you by Big Dog Motors down in Frankfurt. If you're in a wreck, one call does it all. That's right.
Give the Gook a call.
That's right. 315-444-9028 is the number to call. 4262 Acme Road in Frankfurt is where they're located. Cheapest gas today, $2.11 at Mohawk Fuel, which is on 291 near 69. Burn Dairy down there on Oriskany Boulevard is $2.19. Dairy Dell down there on the corner of 5 and Newport Road, $2.19. And Speedway down there on the corner of Oriskany Boulevard in Maine is $2.19. So what's going on outside the area?
Well, since we were talking about blocking traffic and protests and all that other good kind of stuff, let's jump out to Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And you know what happened in Portland, Oregon?
What's that?
No violence.
What?
Yeah, there was no violence in Portland, Oregon overnight as law enforcement stayed away. Okay? But guess what else happened?
Okay.
The National Guard were hours away from coming in.
Aha.
Because Trump said, okay, if the feds can't hold the building, then I'll send the National Guard in. So no violence appeared to occur overnight in Portland. The first détente since May, just hours after President Donald Trump threatened to send in the National Guard. So I'll bet you that they got word that, hey, guys, if we go berserk, and probably what is really going on out there in Portland is the commanders will be out in the field pushing the people to do. And if the National Guard come out, well, now you're going to get caught.
Yes.
And you're going to lose your field commanders if you're Antifa-type folks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you don't want to lose your field commanders. And now that you know that you're outgunned and you're outarmed, everybody kept it peaceful. There were still protests, but they actually had peaceful protests out there in Oregon.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to say about that thing that happened last night is people were commenting, why do people want to disrupt peaceful protests? And I'm thinking, there's not a lot peaceful about this protest.
Yeah.
Have you been watching?
The blue side was clear, but at the Black Lives Matter was not.
Yeah, and the Back to Blue folks, they were, there was a woman speaking at a podium. And it was all, very respectful and whatever. And then when the other side comes, it all just, breaks loose, if you will.
So going to something else, a lot of things are going on in the news. And you're probably going to hear them through whatever media sources are out there. But here's one of the things that has been ongoing, and it's still going on.
And what's that?
And it's going on some more.
Still?
And it's going to go on some more.
Even some more?
Yes, it's going to go on more than that.
Okay.
Because the full appeals court agrees to rehear the appeal in the Flynn case.
Wait a minute. Are you kidding me?
They are going to rehear the case. Now, you know why they're going to rehear it?
Why is that?
Okay, they have dragged this on for what? Almost 2 years? Okay? Because they know that Flynn knows where the bodies is.
Yeah.
And they don't want Flynn to be able to talk. So we're going to keep him under trial. Okay?
Insane.
So now that his first trial, they had an agreement, but then they changed the agreement. So Flynn changed his guilty,
plea.
not guilty.
His
He
plea.
changed his plea. Okay? So after he changes his plea, this restarts the whole trial. Then it's like, okay, we should shut the trial down because this is a default.
Right.
Okay? But the judge does not allow it to go to default, and the judge brings other judges in to try the case for the prosecution. And then after that doesn't work, it comes to another stalemate, and the judge is forced to either let him go or walk away in embarrassment and let it. So instead of doing that, they have agreed to rehear the entire case. Now, the real point is they're going to stretch this out for another 2 or 3 months, and what's going to happen then? The election's going to be over.
Yeah.
And then Flynn can talk. So this whole thing is trashing a 3-star American general who has a very competent service record, who has an excellent record.
Yep.
Okay? And they are keeping him, and they are using every dirty little legal trick in the book that they can.
Do you remember he had to sell his house to get funds for that first trial?
Yeah.
So
And he has like $10 million in debt in legal fees right
Incredible.
now. Okay. So they took, and it's because he really knows what's going on with the FBI and the illegal Democrat oversee of the new president coming into turn under the Obama administration.
Yeah.
Because he knows that a lot of this went on under the Obama administration.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the same guy, the same Obama that was trashing Trump yesterday, who actually tried to overthrow a duly elected president.
Yeah.
So this is like one of those things that you're probably not going to hear about it in other places, and I find it just absolutely astounding that this is happening in the United States.
Yeah, it's sickening is what it is.
Yes,
and
it
it's
is.
a lot of this. People don't realize the political maneuvering that's happening out there.
And like I said, you're probably not going to hear about it, and one of the places you're not going to hear about it most likely is going to be on Google.
Oh, yeah.
Or Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
You can if you can find it on Breitbart, but you can't find Breitbart on Google because Google is shutting things down.
Yep.
If they don't like you, then you are falling off the cliff.
Yes.
And the Daily Caller, another conservative magazine, also experienced Google suppression, says its chief editor. The Daily Caller editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Ingersoll, said that the conservative news website has experienced Google search suppression similar to that reported by Breitbart News, based on Google's defense that it manually blacklists what they call violent extremism.
Because conservatives are violent, apparently.
Reporting the news is violent extremism.
Yeah.
An honest report on what's honestly going on in the news is violent extremism.
Well, you heard that Facebook and Twitter were giving the excuse for their, where they were censoring the doctors. They were saying that information could be very dangerous because people could be taking these dangerous meds.
Those meds have been around for 65 years.
Yes.
They have a very successful track record. They have no history, or very, very tiny history of bad reactions.
Yep.
And I want to jump in here and say, even though they're censoring that, they are not censoring pedophilia.
Yeah.
And things that are evil like that. Tell me that hurting children isn't dangerous to children and isn't dangerous to the moral fiber of this country.
Yeah.
And actually, if you want to get into pedophilia, I've got a whole bunch of that because all of a sudden a lot of papers were released by Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
All sorts of things were unsealed documents. And guess who was there?
Who's that?
With young women.
Who's that?
I did not have sexual relations
Imagine.
with those young women when I was on Epstein Island.
And you know what?
Or when I was on Epstein's airplane, or when I was at any of those.
I just want to say quick, when he says young women, it's underage women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minors.
And there are, we're on the radio, so we can't really talk about it.
Yeah.
But you can Google it.
Or maybe you can Google
Not
it.
for long.
Duck, duck, go.
Duck, duck, go.
Yeah.
What's the verb for duck, duck, go?
Quack.
You're gonna. Yeah, we're gonna quack that. Go ahead, let's quack that.
There you go.
There you go.
That's-
We're gonna use that one.
Yeah,
we're
we'll
gonna
quack that.
We're gonna quack that. We're not gonna Google it. We're just gonna quack it. Makes sense to me.
And Clinton's name was mentioned several times in Maxwell Epstein docs, although the president denies any wrongdoing. Can you imagine that? But you don't think Bill Clinton would lie, do you?
No.
I did not say that president would not lie.
Bill Clinton. No, yeah.
And Biden questions whether the coronavirus vaccine will be real, despite the expert assurances.
Real.
And as I mentioned in the other one, Joe Biden is preemptively doubting whether a coronavirus vaccine will be real and casts his doubt whether the vaccine would be distributed in any degree of equity and realization, seemingly contradicting public health experts even as the White House touts progress on the vaccine. Let's see, you've got no information. You don't know where you are. It must be dark in the basement. Maybe that's why he's kind of lost and doesn't know where he is. So I mentioned this before. Biden said, how are you going to distribute the vaccine when it arrives? When it's there. I think he's talking about when the vaccine comes out.
Gotcha.
And the question of whether it's real when it's there, that requires enormous transparency. You got to make all of it available to other experts across the nation so they can look and see. There's a consensus. This is a safe vaccine. Okay, Joe.
Yeah.
Do you know why they keep him in the basement now?
I do.
You see that?
And you see next week, he said that he's going to be announcing his running mate next week. Did you see that?
Oh, I did not.
I was on Twitter, and somebody said, I have it on good authority that Kamala Harris has a toothbrush in
toothbrush packed in the suitcase?
A toothbrush in the basement, in Joe's basement. She keeps one down there. So I'm like, okay. Okay, then.
So those are some of the wonderful things that are happening out there across the land. Actually, there's a lot more, but you know that time thing that keeps going away?
Yeah, it keeps going and going and going.
It came and went.
it done came and went. So that means it's time for the weather.
Yeah, and the weather is brought to you by Media Partners Group, and their number is 768-0277, located at 188 Main Street in New York Mills. And if you have old videotapes, old films, old slides, Media Partners Group can digitize them either to DVD or a thumb drive or a hard drive, whatever is your preference. There are advantages to either, and you can give them a call at 768-0277.
Now, your Breakfast Club weather forecast.
Hello, everyone. I am Kevin James with a quick check of your WVVC weather forecast. For today, Friday, our last day of July, look for partly cloudy skies as our highs will be in the low 80s. For tonight, skies will be clear with lows in the upper 50s. For tomorrow, Saturday, our first day of August, skies will be mainly sunny with a few afternoon clouds. Our highs will be in the mid 80s. For Saturday night, we can expect a few clouds as our lows will be in the low 60s. For the long range outlook, we will see chances for showers and thunderstorms over the next 7 days as our highs will be in the 70s and 80s. With your weather forecast, I'm Kevin James on WVVC Utica, New York.
Start the song.
All right. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. That's good stuff. So we have Miss Kimmy in the studio today.
Miss Kimmy is with us. Time
Yeah.
for the garden report.
It's time for the garden report.
We know that you have all been waiting.
Yes. And maybe I should open Miss Kimmy's microphone. Can we hear you
so
now?
that she can be with us.
Hello. Hi. Boy, was it cold and chilly this morning. Took me by surprise.
Yeah, me too.
It's feeling like a late summer. We're starting to get that I mean, we're going to still get hot days. I'm sure of it.
Oh, yeah.
But
when you wake up, there's all sorts of dew on the ground.
Yeah.
Because it got cold last night, and then it's going to warm up during the day, and then it's going to get dewy again at night.
But I want to spend a moment just talking about some of the signs that showing we're starting to get on the downside of curve this summer, and there's going to be more later. But just even looking out of this window, you've got a swatch of grass that's mowed. You got the little lawn, and past the lawn, there's always a little field of tall meadow-type grasses and flowers. A week ago, that was all green, and now I'm looking at golden grains of grass seeds. So other things, it's the mornings and the evenings will be a little chillier at times. We have the fireflies, the lightning bugs were out beautiful for like a couple of weeks. Those numbers are now diminishing if you go out at night to enjoy them. There was a lot less last night.
The buggy lights are going away.
Yeah, no more buggy lights. I always have a saying that if you can catch at least one buggy light, one firefly every year, you won't get old. So I got to run around and catch that firefly.
Your time is running out. You better get out there.
I better get out there.
Also, I started noticing that you've got a lot of little spider webs. This is the time of year the spiders are laying their eggs and making their babies. So you're going to see a lot more spider webs. Watch for that to increase. So that's just a few of the... And a year ago, even though we're seeming like we're getting into a late summer, I was just looking at my Facebook earlier, and my memory from last year showed up, and that was a harvest with lots of cherry tomatoes. And I'm not picking a lot of cherry tomatoes yet. I've only picked one, and that was like a week ago. So every year the harvest of the garden is a little different. But we are
think maybe it's because the way our spring rolled around?
Yeah,
it seemed
who
to
knows?
take forever, and then all of a sudden it was summer.
Every year it's different. Who knows what micro differences make bigger differences down the line.
It seemed like both days of spring went by really quick.
All two of them. So, but we are having a big harvesting a lot of things. So if I could go through the list. All right, blackberries. I think we're about at peak of blackberry season, at least in the little homestead of the village in New York Mills.
We got lots of blackberries.
We are out there every day picking a couple cups at least. And we have just a little patch.
Nice.
Compared. So those are all going into the freezer for some future project. And then we're back to beans, and more beans.
Some beans?
I want to go through the list of beans that I have, because this is amazing. I have planted 8 different kinds of beans.
Al, I told you we had beans. So Kim came here with more beans.
Yeah. So we have ordinary green beans, something called filet beans, which when they're mature, they're much thinner. It's a very delicate French bean.
Yeah, they're filet. It's French.
Filet.
Yes. Okay. There's a royal purple, which is very purple. It's a bush bean.
Nice.
Your yellow bush bean. And then a bush bean called dragon tongue, which is a very flat bean. And one of my favorite beans, it's yellow with purple flecks or reddish flecks. And it stays tender even if you miss some, because when you're doing a garden, you're always missing some vegetables. Everybody knows about the giant zucchini that got away, or the overripe cucumber or whatever. Well, there are beans that everybody always misses, and they get tough, and you probably don't, have to throw them away. But the rattlesnake stays nice and tender. Then we have pole beans. The dragon tongue stays nice and tender. Then we have pole beans. We have rattlesnake beans. Which is a green bean with flecks, and that's a very prolific bean. We're harvesting handfuls every day just of these. We also have some Italian pole. We have...
See, Alan, you were saying she didn't know beans.
Yeah, that was me.
We have a purple pole bean, and I did not have on the list. That's 8, but I actually have 9 kind of beans because I was given some seeds last year by a maintenance person at MVCC where I was teaching, and it is he was Bosnian, and he told me this were beans from Bosnia, and it is a beautiful golden pole bean. So it looks like an Italian bean, but it's golden color. So 9 different kinds of beans. Each have different taste profiles, characteristics, and everything. So yes, beans, and more beans.
That would be the musical fruit, right? The beans.
Miss Kimmy is not amused by scatological humor.
Another word?
Another word, write that down.
Walt likes recondite words. All right. We're picking cucumber. Recondite is a recondite word. Just remember that. Look it up. All right. Recondite means not very well known.
Can you quack that out? Recondite.
All right, while he's doing that, we are picking cucumbers. Every day a cucumber or two. We have summer squash, which is zucchinis and yellow squash. And
Yellow squash.
yes.
And we have the peppers coming in
We
because one of the things I do enjoy is I like an omelet with onions and peppers in it. Mm-hmm. So Kim goes, you have to go out and get a pepper.
So
I
now
go
we
out,
have these
get a
small-
pepper off
they're-
the vine and chop, 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 and then it's in my omelet.
There you go.
Yes, with green peppers and some corn.
Corn is coming in because we do small batches of corn.
Mm-hmm.
Corn light is happier in a big square.
Yes.
With a lot of other corn. So when you put in a little bit of corn, and Miss Kimmy doesn't want me to have lots of corn, so she can have beans.
Gotta have beans.
So we have a small section of corn, but it's coming in, and it's always good. That's
We've-
always a fun thing. Is when you want corn for dinner.
Yeah.
You walk out to the garden. You peel the corn off the stalk. You husk the corn, throw the husk on the compost pile, walk in with your corn cobs that are like minutes old and into the pot.
Oh, nothing like
And
that.
fresh corn.
Nothing like that.
Yes.
And we have not harvested any greens for a while, but they're out there just because I have so many beans and other things. But we do have Swiss chard and kale just ready to pick. Mm-hmm. We have future harvest. Pumpkins. We found a baby pumpkin, as you mentioned the other day.
We found a beautiful baby pumpkin the other day, and I also found when I was mowing yesterday another little softball-sized pumpkin. It was so cute.
Plus, there's another area where I planted what I thought were bush scallopini or patty pan squash, and it turns out it's a pumpkin because now I have a pumpkin dangling from the fence. And probably another little one, and that one's a
we
nice...
try to do on a lot of these things that grow big vines. Is we try to grow them near a fence so that instead of the vines growing all over the lawn, they will grow up the fence. And henceforth, when the fruit matures, you actually have this squash or a pumpkin that's hanging on a fence as it's growing. And what Kim will do is she will take a large, what works well is those loose woven ribbons or a cloth and basically almost make like a diaper for it.
A hammock. Let's
a
be
hammock.
classy. Hammock.
A hammock, so that as it grows and gets bigger, it's not pulling the vine and gets ripped off.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah,
it's
that's the
hanging
point.
there. So not only do you not get that funny spot on the bottom where the pumpkins or gourd has been sitting on the ground, it's up in the air, but now fewer critters. Like last year, we were very disappointed because we had really gorgeous pumpkins that are great for cooking and pies, but the raccoons liked them too. So we had these gorgeous pumpkins with raccoon teeth all through the pumpkin. And if they're hanging up there in the air, it's a little bit harder for the raccoons to find them.
I have this year I'm growing a mini butternut squash, honey nut butternut. They're not much bigger than fist size, and we've got some nice fist size. They just have to mature and color up, but we have them growing on an archway. Just because last year I had a lot of butternut squash, almost every single one of them had bite marks in it, so that was disappointing.
Yeah.
So we are expecting pumpkins. We're expecting winter squash. We have a whole new area that we planted with winter squash, and I have a variety. Well, do you know the difference between, and Al, do you know the difference between summer squash and winter squash?
I do not.
I kind of know. I know that the winter squash makes a harder skin.
That's right.
And waxy, so it will keep a long time. A summer squash is like a zucchini or the yellow squash.
Yes.
And it won't. It'll keep for like a week or two, but it won't keep over the winter. But a winter squash will.
Except a zucchini can work as a winter squash. It will have a shorter shelf life. But if you have one of those big, massive zucchinis at the end of the season that got away, and just let it stay on the vine. Its skin does get harder to the point where you can't put your fingernail through it.
Oh.
And you can pick it, cure it a little bit, put it in with your winter squashes, but that's going to have to be one of the first ones.
Okay.
And the pulp will still be sort of like a zucchini, but you're just not going to be able to eat the skin at all. And yes, in any of the winter squashes, you use the pulp,
Yep.
not you don't eat the skin. Whereas a young zucchini and a yellow squash, you do eat the skin.
Now, and actually, in our basement, we have got a crawl space with a dirt area. So we will actually take these gourds down into the basement and put them on in wooden boxes, like fruit boxes, and we will store them there, and they will stay there for quite a while in the cool, darker area. And so long as the critters don't get to them, and so long as the skin of the fruit is not is not broken open, then that will keep for a long time. So you can imagine in the Revolutionary War, going into your dirt cellar. What do they call them? Those underground
root cellars.
Root cellars. And you would have your squash and
your
all
potatoes
sorts of,
and onions and apples. All of this could be stored underground.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And if you store them the right way, then they'll keep for quite a while.
Wow.
That's why they'll hang your garlic and hang onions and everything like that. You want them to stay off the ground so they stay dry.
Right.
So long as they stay dry and they won't get the mold on them, and they'll keep a lot longer.
Nice.
So, Walt, I didn't get a chance to tell you yesterday while you were mowing. By the way, we finally got around to mowing the back. The back part.
The back 40.
The back 40 had not been mowed for I don't know how
For
many
a
times.
while.
Walt makes sure that the front and the main part of the yard looks good, best he can. We've let it go a few times, but I mean we've had grass that was 8 inches tall, taller. So. I went and moved some of the vines so it wouldn't get mowed, and I was some of the watermelon moved out of the bed that we put it on, and the vines were into the grass. And as I was just moving them there, I saw a tiny, little pinky
marble-sized baby watermelon?
Maybe not even marble size.
Oh, boy.
But a little baby watermelon.
Al, we're expecting.
So congratulations, Walt.
And how about the cantaloupe?
I see a lot of flowers. I have not inspected them closely for fruit, but I don't. They were put in a little late in the season, and I think we should have fertilized them a little more than we did.
Wow.
But who knows?
Yeah, they don't seem that happy this year.
I've never had success though, much success with.
I remember one year we got one that wasn't store bought size, but it was actually very tasty, even though it was
bigger
a
than a
little smaller.
softball and smaller than
A basketball. Yep.
Yeah. So if we have just a moment or two, I want to talk about the harvest. We mentioned the things we're harvesting, and especially the beans. The real challenge is, I mean, it would be a waste of money to go to the store to buy vegetables, because I have vegetables in the garden, and I have a lot. But I get tired of, and I know Walt especially gets tired of the same thing over and over again. So I just want to mention something like beans. There are many, many ways to beans. Instead of giving you a recipe, I just want to give you some ingredients. And just mixing these ingredients up in different ways, you can cook your fresh beans. These are your green beans, your snap beans, or pole beans, in many ways. So some of the ingredients are, you could, and any combination or any one of these singly. You can have your greens with garlic and other herbs like oregano and savory. How about some lemon peel? Or lemon. How about olive oil with that? How about some onions? Al, how about some bacon in your beans?
Oh, bacon.
All right.
Actually, a squeeze of lemon when you're cooking up your beans, actually makes the flavor pop on them really nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There is a cooking term called polonaise, or a recipe term called polonaise. So polonaise style would mean adding buttered breadcrumbs to the top of something. So beans with breadcrumbs on top, or cauliflower with breadcrumbs on top.
Those are very good.
Style.
Those are a Thanksgiving treat.
Nice.
Beans polonaise.
You can also cook it with chicken in chicken broth instead of water. You could add potatoes. You could add tomatoes. So plus mix them just with other vegetables. So there's many, many different ways. So that mix it up a little bit so you're not tired of eating a dish of boiled or steamed beans.
Yeah.
Although Kim is somebody who does like her beans just boiled.
Yeah.
She likes plain beans. And I'm like, the plain beans are nice, but can we do something with them? You know,
No,
can we
that's not the way. That's not the way I would say it. I would say it that if you buy beans, even if it's fresh beans from a grocery store, from a farmer's market, it has a different taste than a bean that is freshly picked. It's got such a flavor profile. It's so any vegetable, your parsley, your yellow squash tastes so good if it comes straight from the garden. So I want to be able to enjoy the flavor the way God intended it to be. And yes, after a while, I do like to mix it up a little bit, but there's nothing like a vegetable just straight, and not even a lot of salt.
Yeah.
Just straight out of. But butter, I do like a little butter on it.
Yeah, and the Polonaise. A lot of times, I like it with the with the breadcrumbs on it. That's a great way of having them.
All right.
Yeah. So thank you, Miss Kimmy, for the garden report. That was absolutely wonderful.
Great.
Is there anything more before we are getting close?
Okay. Well, one of the things I was thinking is one of the little things that I've got to go and do when I get home is to get a we don't use a lot of canned foods, but I'm going to find a little canned food or a little container, something empty, put a little water and soap in it, and go out chasing Japanese beetles. They're out there. There's not a ton this year, but I was noticing my little rose bush. I have a little tiny yellow rose bush separate from our rose garden, and it looked so pristine and beautiful a couple days ago. Now there's Japanese beetles on it. So I should do a Japanese beetle hunt, and I bet I could fill the can.
Yeah.
Although this is a very light year compared to some others.
So basically what we're doing is you handpick the Japanese beetles, and to keep their shiny opulescence.
Another word.
You put them in the bath.
Yeah, the little soap. Usually
In
the
the
little
soap bath.
soapy suds make sure that they don't fly out. It kills them quick.
Yep.
So anyway, we may go on a pest hunt today.
Yeah, keep the Japanese beetle population from eating all our beans.
Now, one thing I didn't do is we talked about succession planting, and I have these patches where I've harvested potatoes or all the peas with the intention of putting things in. But with the hot weather, I don't do hot and humidity, so I stayed indoors or tried to do things to be cool. So they might be a little nicer. Now I'm going to figure something to stick in, probably stick some potatoes in.
Yeah, and actually some of the spring plants, it can almost be time to put in some of your second crop of lettuce. Those kinds of things.
We're going to be sticking a lot of things like that. Oh, one of the things I did not mention in harvest, we had an onion harvest, really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Red onions were on yesterday, just drying, basically not carrying the dirt, the wet dirt that was on, drying off so I can brush that off. Right. So, lots of
And shifting gears, we're going to be...
Ready if we can for us today.
Oh, nice.
There we are.
Okay, so this is how you join the Breakfast Club. You just go to WVVCUtica.com, click on the Breakfast Club, and follow the link. Today's winner is Laura from Utica. Okay, Laura's going to win a WVVC prize pack today, which includes 2 beautiful mugs and 2 wonderful bumper stickers. Yes, cool. So if you could, or if you're interested in being a Breakfast Club member, not only does it get you, entered in for prizes.
All the rights and privileges they're on too.
Yes, you also get to be the first to know what's going on here at the station. When there's concert news, when there's events going on, you're going to be the first, among the first to know. Okay, and that's one of the other great benefits of being a Breakfast Club member. I just want to thank everybody for listening today. It's 8:51 right now. We're getting toward the end of our run.
Yes, indeedy.
this
It looks like the computer is getting towards the end of its run.
Yeah, it kind of looks that way.
It's not feeling that happy.
No,
today.
it is not.
I think the computer is going tiggif.
I think so. I think the computer has reached the end of its happiness.
So before we close out, we want to bring you a good word from the Bible. And today we're going to go into John 1, and we're going to do 12 through 13. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God.
Amen.
So keep those good words with you. Have a great weekend, everybody. Al and I will see you bright and early, 7 a.m.
Monday morning.
And hopefully our computer will be waking up and feeling better, too.
Fingers crossed. We'll see you then, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
The Breakfast Club, WVVC 88.1 FM.
Sometimes all we have to hold on to is what we know is true of who you are. So when the heartache hits like a hurricane, that can never change who you are. And we trust in who you are. Even if the healing doesn't come and life falls apart and dreams are still undone, you are God, you are good, forever faithful one. Even if the healing doesn't come. Lord, we know your ways are not our ways, so we set our faith in who you are. Even though you reign high above us, you tenderly love us. We know your heart, and we rest in who you are. Even if the healing doesn't come, life falls apart, and dreams are still undone. You are God, you are good, forever faithful one. Even if the healing doesn't come, you're still the great and mighty one. We trust you always. You're working all things for our good. We'll sing your praise. Even if the healing doesn't come and life falls apart and dreams are still